going on, guys? This is Mike with Chit Chat Gaming, and today I just want to do a video here and share with you 10 of my top favorite games that's in my actual physical collection. Now, these are not my top 10 favorite games of all time. Once again, these are actually physical copies that I own as well too. Does not excludes digital, but also the biggest thing is, like I said, though, my collection is not huge. I mean, it's okay size, but it's not like a big gigantic collection like John Hancock and all those guys as well too. So I picked out 10 of my favorite games that's in my collection, again my physical collection. So again, these are kind of just a little bit different types of genre of games and such here. It was very hard for me to pick because I have a lot of great games, but I want to share with you 10 of my top favorite ones. So in no particular order here. Again, this is not like from like my list of 1 to 10 my favorite games. These are just 10 of my top favorite in my collection here. So go ahead and start here at number 10. Again, no actual order or nothing like that. This is WWF No Mercy, or WWE, whatever you want to call it here. This was definitely one of my favorite games to play, wrestling games growing up. I think this is one of those games on top of everybody's list as far as Nintendo 64 and most importantly wrestling games go. There was WCW versus NWO Revenge, which is actually a really good game. There was also WrestleMania, which is also another great game. But for some reason here, No Mercy just got it right here. The grappling system was perfect on here. You got your strong grapples, your weak grapples. The special moves were awesome. There was blood in this game here too. The other one as well too. There's blood in the other two that I mentioned, but this one here just seemed to do it right. This is kind of like the Aki Corporation and everything just kind of like started going the right direction here with this game here. And unfortunately, it didn't really go too far after this. But Nintendo 64 does have a great slew of wrestling games on it, including this one that prior to that I mentioned here. There's a couple of bad ones on there as well too. I do have WCW Mayhem, which in my personal opinion was just crap. But this indeed is definitely one of those games that's on everybody's favorite wrestling games of all time. Definitely here. It's definitely, and it is, most importantly, it's on my list, of course, of my top 10 favorite games in my collection. And once again, that's WWF No Mercy for the Nintendo 64. So we'll go ahead and put that over there. Next up here is kind of a little bit of I got a couple of these different games in here as well too, but this here is Ultra Street Fighter 2 for Nintendo Switch. I do have the 30th anniversary on the Switch here, but I really like this game here. Street Fighter 2 is one of my favorite fighters of all time. It's my favorite Street Fighter game of all time, and this one here just did it right. Not only did it include the original one as well too, but you did have the new art style as well of the game, and it actually had online, had some different customization. You had some great artwork and such in here as well too. Some different options you could do. Had the Way of the Hado, but it was definitely nothing cool. I didn't like it at all, but definitely the fight styles and everything here, like I said, the fact that you could go back from the original to the new definitely did the game justice. It was definitely the definitive collection of Street Fighter 2, and the fact that it's on Nintendo Switch, I definitely enjoyed the most here as well. I do like the 30th anniversary, but for some reason here, I always go back to this one here as well, because this is definitely one of my favorites. Like I said, I like the new style. I like the fact that you could change like the old voices and stuff to the new sound effects to the old sound effects as well. So definitely a great game to have on anybody's list out there if you're a Switch fan, and most importantly a 2D fighter as well too. That's Ultra Street Fighter 2. Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challenge here for the Nintendo Switch, coming in at number 9 here. Like I mentioned, no particular order, Street Fighter 2, I just mentioned it here a second ago. Street Fighter 2 for Super Nintendo is definitely my favorite fighting game of all time. Definitely my favorite Street Fighter game of all time as well too. I actually do own Super Street Fighter 2 for the Sega Genesis, as well as Street Fighter 2, the Special Champion Edition here for Sega Genesis as well too. But I'm telling you right now, with the sound effects, the way it looked and everything, Super Nintendo 1 did it just right as well too. So as far as being closest to the arcade, I do think that this one definitely did do it. There's lots of different games out there, of course, Street Fighter games, or Sega Dreamcast, and everything as well too. But PlayStation and whatnot. But this is definitely, speaking of old-time retro consoles, for the Super Nintendo, which is my favorite console of all time, Street Fighter 2 Turbo here is definitely my favorite of all time as far as fighting games go and Street Fighter games. There is a regular Street Fighter 2, which I don't have, but Street Fighter 2 Turbo was definitely great. It had the new characters in it as well too, and most importantly, it had the turbo mode, which I always enjoyed playing. So definitely number 8 here, Street Fighter 2 Turbo for the Super Nintendo. Coming in here at number 7 is another Super Nintendo game. This is Final Fight 2. I just did a video here on my Retro Fridays of this. I did Final Fight CD. This is Final Fight 2. This is the Super Famicom edition here. Definitely a great game. Once again, I'm a big fan of brawlers. I love beat 'em up games. Street Fighter or Streets of Rage. You had Double Dragon as well too, Battletoads, but Final Fight was just a great overall game. And this one here for Super Nintendo, for Super Famicom, actually included other things and other features and stuff that it did not include on the SNES version, on the North America version, simply because of the fact that they couldn't get away with it here in the States like you could in Japan. That's a couple of the characters that they didn't agree with. Of course, for Nintendo, they had to tone it down, but in Japan, they definitely got away with it as well too. So definitely some extra features on here that the the North American version didn't have. But Final Fight 2, the whole Final Fight series is definitely one of my favorites. So we're jumping to number 6, and this is a great game. We're going into the original PlayStation now. Now I'm talking about Twisted Metal 2. I do own the first one, I own 3, I own 4 as well too. But Twisted Metal 2 was definitely the game that I grew up playing the most. I love this game here. This game has just definitely introduced me into a completely different style of game, genre, when it first came out. So it was definitely just a great game. The fact that you could go around with your different vehicles and just destroy each other. They had a 2-player split screen as well too, which is a lot of fun. It's definitely something we always did. You basically just go around collecting different items and completely just destroying each other. So it made it a lot of fun for games. This and Destruction Derby was a lot of fun as well too. But this one here just holds a great place in my heart. The first one was good, but this one did just right. The maps and everything are so cool. I remember the Paris map on here as well too. Just a lot of fun. The fact that you can go underneath the Paris or the Eiffel Tower and go up to the top and everything here as well. It was just a lot of fun to play. Just like I said, the best part about this was the fact that it had the split screen 2-player co-op that you could just jump into and just face each other and just literally annihilate each other. So number 6 is Twisted Metal 2 for the original PlayStation here. So and let's go into number 5. It's a more recent game here, but it is definitely one of my favorites. It is Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I know a lot of people are probably saying like, why isn't Link to the Past, or why isn't like Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time? Why are those not on my list? Well, I do own them, but I've got to say though, I love Link to the Past. It's definitely one of my favorite games of all time, Zelda games. But, Breath of the Wild is just an incredible game. They did it just right. The fact that it's open world is just amazing. There's so many shrines you can go in and complete as well too. The DLC is actually really good as well. I have not played this on the master mode or whatever it is, so I probably couldn't do it because I'm not that great at it. But this game is just hours and hours and hours of fun. I have so many hours put into this game here, and I still haven't beat it yet. So definitely a great game. Zelda Breath of the Wild, I think it really took the Switch to a whole new level. It released on the same day as the Switch on March 3rd of 2017, and it just did a great job as far as bringing the Zelda world and universe to life as well too. I don't really think they even had to make a sequel to this. They could just keep putting DLC out for it and everything. But definitely Zelda Breath of the Wild is definitely one of my favorite Zelda games of all time, and it definitely deserves a place here on my top list of games. So that here is number 5. This is another great game here. It's more recent. It is Titanfall 2. I have Titanfall 1. I loved it. I actually got the Xbox One Titanfall bundle when it first came out here. The original big VCR looking Xbox One with a huge power brick. I actually got that, and I actually got this here. I do have the Titanfall controller as well too for the Xbox One. But Titanfall 2 just did everything that the first one did wrong and did it right by adding a nice little single player campaign as well too. And the campaign, it's not really long, but it's definitely one of those ones that you can fall in love with as well too. It's got a great story to it, and the multiplayer in this game is a lot of fun. My only complaint about this is that I wish there was more Titans that you can definitely customize and get as well. But other than that, the pilots and everything are great. The actual co-op mode and everything is terrific. But the biggest thing I think is just the fact that the single player campaign was introduced in this game here, and it's definitely a lot of fun. Like I mentioned, it's not very long, but it's a lot of fun here. But of course, the multiplayer mode is indeed great in this game as well here too. I love Respawn. They did a great job. Microsoft now acquired Respawn, so I don't know what's going to happen with this actual game. I don't know if they're actually going to make a third one anytime. I hope they do, because I definitely like the Titanfall series a lot. It's definitely one of my favorite first-person shooter games on the Xbox One. Well, this one here actually was multi-plats, but the original one was an Xbox One exclusive. But Titanfall 2, I'm glad that everybody got a chance to play it. Definitely deserves a spot here on my my top list as well too. So now let's go on and come in here at number 3. We're going to jump back into another wrestling game here too. And this is, we're doing older ones. So this is Day of Reckoning 2 for the Nintendo GameCube. Nintendo GameCube had a lot of great wrestling games. I didn't have a ton of games, but the wrestling games that had on there were incredible. They were a lot of fun. You had WrestleMania 18, which was, you know, it was okay, but it was still pretty decent. Then you had, you know, WrestleMania 19, you had Day of Reckoning 1, and you had Day of Reckoning 2. In my personal opinion, Day of Reckoning 1 and Day of Reckoning 2 are two of the greatest like wrestling games I really enjoyed. They basically took the same style that the No Mercy had, with a different kind of like an arcade style as well too. But they took that, the grappling system and such, and they, you know, basically took it into this version here. You know, it didn't look, during the time, it didn't look the greatest. Like, you know, the actual SmackDown series and such looked a little bit better. That was on the PlayStation 2. But Day of Reckoning 2 had a great roster here, and it was a great arcade style game. It was just a lot of fun. Overall, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, you know, the definitely art style was something interesting. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't so much lifelike or realistic as the other games were that were on the other consoles, but it did a great job of actually nailing that grappling system down as well too. So definitely GameCube had some great wrestling games on as well. Legends of Wrestling games, those games are kind of iffy, but this one here actually did a great job of nailing it perfectly to my approval anyway. So it was indeed, you know, a 1 to 4 player game as well too. So that's always something you could always have fun with your friends and everything too. So number 3, Day of Reckoning 2 here for the Nintendo GameCube. Number 2 is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. We're going to the Genesis here now as well. You know, you had Mario games, which surprisingly isn't on here. I do own Super Mario World, which should be in here somewhere, but I do own Super Mario World and Mario Odyssey, which are two of my favorite all time. But for some reason, I definitely wanted to grab Sonic the Hedgehog 3 because this game is a lot of fun. I love the whole entire Sonic series, but this one was just so much fun. There was such a great story here to be told. The stages are awesome. The music's amazing. Hooking up Sonic and Knuckles to this was even more incredible. So this game is definitely well deserved to be on my list here as well. So a lot of fun here. Sonic Mania Plus just came out. I love Sonic Mania. It's such a fun game. But like I mentioned though, just going back in time, sitting down playing the regular, you know, the original Genesis on my old CRT and popping this baby in here, which of course is indeed complete in box, so I gotta say that it's definitely a lot of fun. Sonic the Hedgehog is a great series, and it's just a lot of fun to go back and play this game here. Sonic Mania is probably gonna be the closest thing you're gonna get to a more 2D style game like you got originally, but this one here out of the 3 is my favorite. I actually like Sonic Spinball as well too. It was a lot of fun. You know, there's Sonic 3D, I think it was called. It was okay, but for some reason I always go back to this one out of the 3 originals. So definitely make sure you check this out if you are a Sega Genesis fan or you have a Sega Genesis. This is definitely a great game to get here. So it's definitely in there. So that's an honorable mention. Super Mario World and Super Mario Odyssey are two of my honorable mentions I can throw in here. So, but coming in here at number 1 here is, like I said, number 1 that I have up here with me, so is actually NBA Jam. I'm not a huge sports fan as far as games go. I love baseball, I love college football, but I never really got huge into the NBA. But as far as NBA games go, this is more like my style here. It's like a Mortal Kombat, like not really Mortal Kombat, it's probably a bad thing to say, but it's more like, you know, like the NFL Street, NBA Street. You know, Super High Impact, which is a great game as well too for Super Nintendo. You know, the Blitz games and everything here is all on the same genre where it didn't take itself too seriously. You basically run around, you know, you're on fire, you can use turbo, you can do crazy slam dunks, you know, you can do on fire ones where you actually, you know, slam it and the fire goes all, you know, everything, and break the glass and everything else here. So once again, also complete in box. But this game definitely made me look at, you know, sports games a little bit different here because it didn't take itself seriously, although it did indeed have like the real players in it as well too, like the Chicago Bulls, who I always played. I'm from the area, so and especially around that time, you know, this one had B.J. Armstrong and Scottie Pippen in it as well too. But it didn't really take itself seriously, like I mentioned here. It was just a lot of fun. You could actually play with yourself and another player, and you could just have yourself a heck of a lot of fun here playing a game that didn't take itself way too seriously as far as sports go. So definitely a great game that deserves to be on my list that I do own here as well. So once again, guys, I just wanted to show you 10 of my top favorite games in my physical collection. Like I mentioned, there's no particular order here. These are not my top 10 favorite games of all time. And these are not, these exclude digital as well too, because I do have a lot of digital games. But I want to show you guys physically my top 10 favorite that I have in my collection. So let me know down in the comment section below what, if you liked any of these games here, or if any of these are in your collection as well too as your top 10 favorite, or what exactly would be your top 10 favorite of your physical collection. If you want a bigger challenge, if you're a fellow YouTuber, even if you're not a fellow YouTuber, make a video and show me what your top 10 is too, because I'm definitely interested to hear it and see it as well too. So once again guys, this has been Mike with Chit Chat Gaming, and as always, happy gaming.